Earlier today, survivors and relatives of the 202 people killed in the Bali bombings returned to Bali to mark the 20th anniversary of the terror attack. More than 300 people attended a commemoration service at the Australian government's Consulate General in Denpasar. The Indonesian Foundation of Survivors and Indonesian Police's anti-terror squad released baby turtles and doves at a beach in Bali's Nusa Dua. Because the turtle is able to defend itself on its own, it personifies immortality and fertility. In the story of Noah and the Ark, the dove represents a fresh start and a new beginning. Candles have been lit at the site of the bombings tonight. How family members or friends can ever come to grips with this horror is beyond the comprehension of most of us. It was an horrific night 20 years ago. 3 bombs tore through Bali, killing 202 people and wounding hundreds more. 88 Australians were killed in the attack, the biggest Australian loss of life as a consequence of terrorism ever. Surely for the family of victims, the memory of what happened will haunt them forever, especially when the ideological inspiration for the bombings at Bali, Abu Bakar Bashir, now 82, was freed from prison last year after serving only 2/3 of his sentence. The bomb maker Umar Patek is set to be freed from prison in East Java after his 20-year sentence has been halved. Anthony Civilicic, who was 25 at the time when the explosion ripped through the bar of the Sari Club, partially burying him in burning rubble, suffered burns to 60% of his body, months in hospital, and had to learn to walk again. Unsurprisingly, Anthony Civilicic said of the likely release of the bomb maker, and I quote, "I think it's rubbing salt into the wounds. This guy built the bomb, which killed all these people, and he's only done 10 years of a 20-year sentence, so he's getting a discount," unquote. Or the former federal police officer Frank Morgan has said, and he was one of the first responders, quote, "There are 88 Australian families that have been given a life sentence, and this guy walks out. He's got a big grin on his face. There's no contrition. There is no nothing." Anthony Civilicic said today of the bomb maker Patek, "As far as I'm concerned, this guy is a mass murderer and should be put away for the rest of his life," unquote. I read about Tom Singer, who was in year 11 at Marist College in Pagewood, Sydney. He went to Bali. It was his first overseas trip. He was a surfer and a lifesaver at Coogee. He was 17. A brave Hannabeth Luke, then 22, tried to save Tom, supporting the bloodied teenager as they stumbled out of the inferno, and that picture you can see went around the world. The photo is extraordinary. Tom died a month later, leaving another family to comprehend a senseless loss. Tom Singer's family joined other families early today at a memorial service at Coogee. But what awful memories of a beautiful son with shrapnel wounds and burns to his lungs and almost 2/3 of his body. Tom Singer hovered between life and death. After a month, death won. We are bad in this country at recalling history. We must remember the pain and sense of loss some of our fellow Australians suffered that night and learn from it. I think today of Craig Salvatore, who played for me at South Sydney. He also played rugby league for Australia. He was there with his wife Kathy and 2 children, Olivia, who was then 9, and Eliza, 6. Craig didn't go out that night. Kathy did with friends. Craig was woken at 3 a.m. and told there had been a terror attack. Later, he put his 2 daughters on a flight home to Sydney, who didn't understand. He told the children, quote, "We're still looking for Mummy."